Welcome back then to the Red Bull Ring in Spielberg. 3 cracking Grands Prix for you all so far here today. And there is the MotoE race left here as well. Myself, Matt Dunn, bringing you the coverage alongside Neil Morrison. Fran Wild will be down on the grid getting some scoops for us before we get going in the race. Yesterday was an absolutely sensational ride. I like to say a story is a bunch of facts with a surprise in it. And boy, oh boy, did we get a surprise. 2 corners from the end of the race. It was sensational. But there was a rider who ended up taking the victory. It was Eric Granado from the LCR-E team. And straight away, let's go down to the grid to hear from his team boss, Lucio Cecchinello, with Fran Wild, to hear what his reaction was to that race. Oh, I'm guessing we've maybe got a couple of technical issues because as we see Eric Granado there, I mean, Fran, not sure if you can hear me, but well, we did see that she was stood. There you go. I can hear you. I can hear you just about now. Take it away if you want. Well, no, we seem to have some technical issues there then, yep, so that's it. So we can't actually hear from Fran at the moment. That's a real shame, but I can imagine Lucio Cecchinello will be saying something along the lines of, that was absolutely awesome, because, Neil Morrison, what did that do to the series standings?
It compressed it together, Matt, by 5 points. Obviously, Domi Egerter came into this round 31.5 points clear of Granado. Granado pulled back 5 points. Now it's just 26.5, and with 3 races still to go, all to play for.
In the middle of the front row, taking off on today, because of course your winner, Eric Granado, yesterday was starting from pole position. Mattia Casadei starts from 2nd place. He led it all the way pretty much until that penultimate corner. I did go and speak to him earlier, asked him what happened. He said, unfortunately, I thought Eric was a lot closer to me than he actually was. I made a mistake coming out of turn 7. I closed the line a little bit more into turn 9. With a bit too much speed, down he went. His mistake, but that's what happens. Same goes for Matteo Ferrari. He had a dramatic start to the race yesterday.
Yeah, he can count his lucky stars that he's actually on this grid, because it was a terrifying crash, high-siding. Well, it wasn't even a high side, it was the rear end just came round at him as he exited turn 1 on the first lap. Obviously, the rest of the field had to take avoidant action, and thankfully, almost miraculously, no one collided with either Matteo or his bike. He was able to remount and finish 14th. But you have to say, Matt, that's probably his championship chances done.
Yeah, unfortunately so. He does sit 3rd, mathematically still within a shout. Mattia Casadei, with that crash, just puts himself mathematically out of a chance of taking the title. But Ferrari, it's going to be a long haul from here. So we got a 2-horse race with 3 races left here in 2022. Heading the 2nd row of the grid, we got Kevin Zanoni. A great ride from him yesterday until he just got sort of got bullied back into the pack, didn't he?
Yeah, exactly. Started really well, was up there fighting actually for the leading positions in the first couple of laps, but as you said, Matt, he ended up just running down the order ever so slightly. But Zanoni starting from 4th place, he'll have another shot at it just now, starting from 4th on the grid. But
what about Dominic Egerter? We just saw him there on our screens. I mean, not only is he sporting a heck of a mullet, bringing, well, split opinions all around the world, he did certainly what he needed to do yesterday. It was set to be 3rd place, ended up being 2nd, so that gap instead of being 4 points actually was a little bit more than he was anticipating, but still that was a very, very good ride to 2nd place from him. Alongside him on the grid though, Nicolo Canepa, the rider on your screens there. The number 7 got caught up in the Ferrari incident at the start of yesterday's race. That put paid to any kind of ambition he had. What about Cardelus though, Neil? He heads the 3rd row.
Yeah, he was looking a bit loose, a bit wild in yesterday's race. He was up there fighting for the podium before he outbraked himself going into turn 6, ran off track through the gravel, and then came back and rejoined a bit further down the order in 13th. So if you can keep it clean today, Cardelus could well be an outside shot for the podium.
Then we have alongside him on the grid is actually Mikel Pons. 8th position he was. He ended up 3rd place yesterday. A cracking ride from him, as of course we missed him in the 2nd race back in Assen, as he was the rider that brought out the red flag due to his crash in that coming out of Distruben. So thankfully he was all okay after that, and able to return to action here yesterday. And what a ride to the podium that was, Neil.
Yeah, really impressive stuff indeed from this man here on your screens, Mikel Pons. Obviously, we're all a little bit worried about Mikel after he had that nasty-looking crash at Assen 7 weeks ago. But what a way to make his comeback from injury. And putting it on the box, it was a dream day in many respects for Lucio Cecchinello's team. Can he do a similar act today and back up his teammate Eric Granado? I mean, he would really go up another notch in Lucio Cecchinello's estimations if he could get ahead of Domi Egerter at the checkered flag, just behind Eric Granado.
Someone I think had quite an understated race yesterday. Alex Escrig was one of them. I think he had a pretty good outing from 9th on the grid up to 6th place. The ever lanky youngster from Tech 3E Racing finished just behind his teammate Hector Garza in 5th. But actually the person I thought had the best race that we didn't really get to comment on too much was Hikari Okubo, finishing 4th here yesterday, Neil. And when we cast our minds back to last year, Okubo actually finished 5th place, so that's one better from him this time around. We didn't get to see him much though. Yeah,
we didn't really. We were obviously focusing on the two guys up front and the battle for the victory at the end. But Okubo does have a good record here at this track, as Matt said. 4th place. Could he maybe be an outside shot for the podium? He will have a bit of a job in his hands coming from 12th on the grid, but Okubo has shown on a couple of occasions he can do that.
Let's give Fran another try though, shall we? Head down onto the grid. Fran, what have you got for us?
Well, I'm now no longer on the grid due to the fact that it's very close to the departure for this race, but the tech problem is now solved, so I should be with you now throughout, and hopefully if we have any drama or any updates from here, I'll be back with you now. Apologies for that.
Thank you very much then, Fran. No worries at all. These things can't be helped. Let's take a full look at the starting grid then. Granado from Casadei and Ferrari are your front row. Zanoni, Egerter and Canepa are row 2. Starting the 3rd row of the grid though, we'll have Cardelus and then... we'll have... what am I on about? Cardelus? We will have Cardelus on the 3rd row of the grid from Pons and Alex Escrig. I see we're going to have the same rodeo that we had yesterday. This is going to go through like a flash. Hector Garzo is on the 4th row of the grid alongside Jordi Torres, who didn't have the best of days yesterday. He's still recovering from injury, and Hikari Okubo alongside him from 12th to 4th yesterday. Very impressive. Manfredi, the flying mustache, there in 13th from Forres and Herrera. Bradley Smith and Mark Alcoba were due to be on row 6, but Smith, after his incident yesterday, not racing today.
Yeah, a real shame for Bradley, who crashed out in the first lap, exiting turn 2, the turn 2 chicane, new for this year. And it's just been a really tough season so far for Bradley. Had no luck, no fortune whatsoever. Hopefully we'll see him back on one of these MotoE bikes for the final round in Misano in 2 weeks' time. Yeah,
we did see him walking away from his crash yesterday, which was good news, but a torrid weekend for Smith. We wish him very well. Hope to see him back soon. We do have then 7 laps of racing awaiting us in about a minute and a half's time. The riders, the tyre warmers will come off the bikes and we'll be getting ready to go racing. Spoke to Ferrari about what happened in his crash yesterday. He said, unfortunately, the changing in tyre allocation for this year, the change in the bikes caught him out. Bit of a cold tyre and too much power at the rear wheel, and down he went, sadly. He'll be looking to make some improvements on that today.
Yeah, we saw quite a few guys have moments. Obviously, Bradley Smith had a bit of a high side out coming out of turn 2, and another few moments for riders exiting turn 3. So hopefully we can have a clean start, because, yeah, a few hairy moments yesterday.
Here we go then, the final handshakes, fist bumps, pats on the back, etc. And the teams are departing the grid. No warm-up lap in MotoE, of course. It's just roaring into life, and it's great to see thousands of fans still flocking across all the hillsides here to watch the very best electric racing you can see from anywhere in the world. The action is hard and fast, and you've got to wait until the very end. You cannot take any kind of predictions here, because expect the unexpected. And we had to wait until the penultimate corner to get our surprise yesterday from that man there, Mattia Casadei, crashing out of what was to be certain victory. Well then, we have a slight issue, because we have Xavi Forres saying there's a problem with his bike there. He's being wheeled off the grid by Rick Christian there from Erta. He's got to take off the grid, but that then means there's a little bit of element of extra danger for these guys, because those tyres are getting cooler and cooler, Neil.
Yeah, Forres being wheeled right to the back of the grid. Maybe he'll have to go off the grid and into pit lane, start from there. But yeah, that's a shame for the Spaniard as we get ready to go.
Here we go then. MotoE bursts into life then. I didn't even see the lights, but who gets the whole shot? It's Casadei for the middle of the front row. Eric Granado bogged down a bit. Ferrari up the inside into second, but it's Casadei who romps off in towards the distance. Several bike lengths already in hand. Ferrari keeps it up right this time. Where is Egerter? He's He's back in 6th, I think. Who will be the last of the late breakers into 2A? It's Casadei from Ferrari, then Granado in 3rd, Pons 4th, and Zanoni in 5th. All safely through the exit of 2A and 2B. Up towards turn 3 we come.
Casadei absolutely sensational off the line once again, and look at Zanoni underneath both LCR bikes, but he's in hot. He pushes Pons wide, and Granado gets them on the cutback.
That's a cracking line choice from Eric Granado there. So the hunt begins because Casadei, he's already got off. He's got 0.6 of a second in hand over his fellow countryman and rival from other series, Matteo Ferrari.
Ooh.
Down they come in towards turn 4. Zanoni very, very hard on the brakes in front. Oh, that's Aegerter. Aegerter with big issues there. Garzo with issues as well on the exit of turn 4. It's all going off here in MotoE Race 2.
It really is, yeah. I thought Granado was pretty brave deciding to outbrake Zanoni around the outside into 4. That's a very, very risky manoeuvre. But once again, Matt, in MotoE 2022, Casadei off the line and on the first lap is absolutely sensational. He was around a second clear of the rest after 1 lap of racing yesterday.
Wow, extremely impressive from Mattia Casadei. He was the fastest rider in free practice 1 and 2 on Friday by quite a clear margin. What can he do here in the race today? No more slip-ups like yesterday. He'll be paying close attention to his pit board as well, maybe even the screens around the track to keep in check where his main rival for this race, Ferrari, is on track.
He's got half a second in hand over the Italian as they cross the line. Granado is a further 0.6 of a second back in Aegerter. Well, it looks as though his chances of victory are already run because he's come across the line 2 seconds back off the number 27.
It's a big old effort for Aegerter here then today. Cracking job so far from Maria Herrera as well. The rider up most places after that first lap from where she was on the grid, although Hikari Akubo just sides it up her inside there again. She's pushed back down to 11th place.
Yeah, Mikel Pons here can really earn his keep for the LCR squad by acting as wingman for as Aegerter underneath Zanoni at turn 3. That's a really nice move from the championship leader. But yes, as I was saying, Pons can really do a job here as wingman and protect Granado just ahead.
Let's keep an eye on the sector times as well then, because Granado is 0.6 of Ferrari, who in turn is 0.5 of Casadei. How will that improve or not over the course of the laps then? So Pons has one job. If he's been talked in the ear by Lucio Cecchinello, some team orders there. You've got to keep Dominic Aegerter behind you all the way to the flag.
Yeah, absolutely. You can see Casadei holding station, but Granado has basically wiped out the 0.6 deficit that he had to Ferrari, and you can see Garza there going underneath Carlos with a nice move at turn number 7. That is impressive stuff there from the Spaniard.
Through the final sector we come then. Granado right on the tail of Ferrari. This could be an important move he'd make there, and Dominic Aegerter, a grandstand view of it as well. He'll be willing Ferrari to keep Granado at bay. Will we hear the national anthem of Brazil once again here today? Cut across the line they will come. It'll be 5 laps to go.
Yeah, Zanoni looking a bit flustered, dropping all the way back down to 8th. Hikari Akubo is just with him. Expect the Japanese rider to make some moves soon. Is Granado going to have a sniff? Here he is.
Yes, he is, and that is near enough textbook. Perfect line choice. Sits him up, puts him wide, and very cleanly through is Granado. But will Ferrari get him on the cutback? It's 2A and 2B. Another overtaking hotspot. Ferrari has form for sending it up the inside, but this time thinks better of it. Now they're closing down Casadei once again.
Yeah, and the fastest man on track, clearly the fastest man on track is Mikel Pons, who was a 141.1. That was 0.6 of a second faster than Casadei. You do fancy this battle for second here. Oh, Aegerter has a big old moment coming out of turn 3. You do fancy this 4-rider fight for second is going to become a 5-rider fight for the lead very soon.
Goodness me, how quickly have they come back into a big pack, as we love to see in MotoE racing. The rear wheels snaking all over the place underneath Granado. It says 0.7 of a second between him and Casadei. It looks a little bit closer than that, but meanwhile, Aegerter down in 5th. He really needs to make some progress if he wants to stop this title charge. Cardalus leading that second group then, and Akubo once again from 12th position on the grid up to 7th as well. The Japanese rider, it's been a great day for Japanese riders across Grand Prix classes. Can he bring some more glory for the Asian nation here later this afternoon?
Yeah, no spoilers. We'll just leave it at that for what has happened so far. But Akubo making decent progress. What about Aegerter? Can he make decent progress? We saw him having a bit of a moment out of turn 3. That's almost a repeat of what we saw yesterday. Is Pons going to have a look at the inside of Ferrari into the final turn. Not quite there, but perhaps he could line him up into the first turn. Look at Granado's progress. He's got that lead down to just 0.2 of a second.
Yeah, this is exactly what happened yesterday. He didn't get such a great start. Casadei got away from him, but he slowly kept his head, reeled him in as Pons moves up the inside of Ferrari this time. So it's Ferrari versus Aegerter then on the edge of turn 1, getting ever closer to track limits there. But keep your eye on the leaders. 0.3 of a second split, Casadei and Granado.
Well, we've got 1 second covering this lead quintet. This is MotoE racing at its very best, and with 4 laps to go, you have to imagine the best of the drama is yet to come. Can Granado make a move on Casadei? We saw yesterday that catching the Italian was one thing, but then making a move under him was quite a different thing, and he said the different riding style, the late braking technique of Casadei is so difficult to overpass at this circuit.
Yeah, that is what he's known for, is Casadei, and he will have learned from yesterday's mistake as well. I mean, he did actually say he couldn't hear Granado, of course. That's the thing about MotoE. They're not as loud as other motorcycles that we have racing here in Austria. You can't use that technique to judge where your opponent is. So what other techniques could he use to judge that distance? But I'll tell you what, sight's one of them, and what he sees right now is Granado right in front of him. That's not a stereotypical overtaking spot here in Austria, but Eric Granado has done it masterfully.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant stuff there. We haven't really seen a clean move like that at turn 6 from the leading group so far. We didn't see it yesterday either, but Granado now already looking like he has the potential to break clear.
And look at those Live Cup standings. If it were to finish right now as it was, which it might not, because Aegerter's got up the inside of Ferrari here, it could be 12.5 points between Granado and Aegerter into the final round in Misano.
Yeah, this is typical Aegerter, isn't it, in 2022? Not a great start, a slow first 1 or 2 laps, and then he really comes into his own, but it looks as though Casadei is going to try and respond.
He is, but Granado, can he break later? Yes, he can, and Casadei forced to stay behind him, or is he? Oh, he nearly touches his rear wheel there. It's very, very close, a little bit wide on the exit. Ferrari's got the better of Aegerter once again. Then we're over the halfway point of this race. Granado, they fan out, 3 abreast nearly. Oh, Ferrari swirling all over the place. He'll be very close to the front wheel of Aegerter there. Will he sacrifice his drive up towards turn 3?
Yeah, Ferrari needs to be really careful with the track limits. He's already got a warning, and I think he was wide at turn 1 there, so he could be in trouble, and he's in trouble into turn 3 as Aegerter makes a lovely outbraking manoeuvre to take 4th.
Goodness me, well, it's non-stop action then, 3 laps to go. Aegerter up the inside of Ferrari, then again, Granado holding firm in first, but how much does Casadei close in on him there? Casadei, notoriously one of the last of the late breakers in this class, but still, he didn't actually have anything for Granado that time around. If anything, he pulled away from him out of turn 4.
Yeah, Granado is pretty good in this second sector. You can see how he gaps to number 27 on the exit of turn number 4.
Is Aegerter going a bit too wide there for Ferrari? No, he doesn't invite him through that time around, but he needs to watch it there. Clearly a key passing point for some of these guys. MotoE bikes love the highest corner speeds.
Yeah, they certainly do. And what can Mikel Pons do in second? Can he make it an LCR 1-2? He's having a look at Mattia Casadei. Not quite at turn 9.
Oh, this is absolutely class stuff, isn't it? So 1 more corner to go and we start the penultimate lap, not final lap. Don't get ahead of yourself, Matt, but here we go then. Onto the straight we come. Granado, the 27 of Casadei, 71 of Pons, 77 of Aegerter, ahead of the 11 of Ferrari. Those are your quintet of leaders here in this second race in Austria. Granado chooses his line choice perfectly. Once again, Aegerter so wide there. Goodness me, that is so far beyond track limits. He's already gone to Misano. That could well be a warning for the Swiss.
Yeah, he was almost in Salzburg with that line through turn 1 there. We'll have to get his composure back again after that little mistake and see what he can do about this ahead. Obviously, Aegerter, we're at that point in the championship, Matt, where you are starting to think about the championship standings. Doesn't need to risk it all at this point. Does he want to risk it all? I'm sure he will not be happy with 4th place, but would he risk it all to try and catch Granado here?
I'm not sure, because I'm looking at the Live Cup standings at the bottom right of your screen. 14.5. There's 50 points available in the rest of the season. Granado could do it. He needs to take every point he can, but he also needs to be very careful of those track limits. There is Ferrari then, chasing back down the Swiss rider. Can he do the Brazilian any favours here? It's all calm. The calm before the storm, I feel here, of that final lap in MotoE.
I have to say, I really thought once Granado hit the front, he would start gapping these guys behind, but he just hasn't been able to do it. He is good in this kind of second, third sector off the track, though. You can see he's put a wee bit of distance between himself and Mattia Casadei. It was 0.2 of a second through sector number 2. As they click through sector number 3 just here, it is actually down to 0.1. So It is, as you were.
We are all set up for an absolute grandstand finish, as we love to see in MotoE, with so much talk of sprint races over this weekend. What better advert could there be for sprint racing in Grand Prix motorcycle level as they're neck and neck? It's the final lap. Here we go. Cassidy moves into the lead, or does he? Neck and neck besides Granado. Granado pulls across him. Supreme line there through turn 1 once again. Granado from Cassidy, Pons and Aegerter on the run to 2A.
Yeah, brilliant defensive riding there from Eric Granado. I thought that Cassidy was definitely going to make a way through. Bit unlike Cassidy, he's usually one to stick it up the inside. He's being a little bit cautious, isn't he, with his overtaking? So far as another moment.
That's not cautious or measured from Aegerter. Has he sacrificed his line? Will there be a move from Ferrari? No moves for anybody up the inside into turn 3 this time around. The last of asking.
Yeah, absolutely. 7/10 of a second then, covering the lead quintet with just 1 lap to go. Less than 1 lap to go in this race. Will it be Granado? Will it be Cassidy? Will it even be Mikel Pons for a debut win this year?
This is absolutely sensational stuff. Pons up the inside of Cassidy. Does he make it stick? Does he run wide? We've got the element of surprise. The camera angle change from Fields to Cassidy. It goes up his inside, but he carries the speed through. Does he hold the line in towards turns 6 and 7? Yes, he does. Pons being the ultimate teammate. He's just like Jack Miller with Pecco Bagnaia pretty much. This is sensational. Granado still holds the lead. Pons in second place. Cassidy in third. Will Aegerter make a rash move here in the final sector?
Yeah, you have to imagine Aegerter is lining up a move for Cassidy here at turn 9. Here he comes.
Right on his wheel. Here he goes. Will he pull out and try to make the overtake? Yes, he does. Will he go for it? No, though, because Cassidy defending the line. Everybody through, but Aegerter goes up the inside again. It's going to be Granado's. If he keeps it to rubber side down here, out the final corner he comes, and it's a double once again for the Brazilian. But Aegerter takes third, Pons in second. What a motorcycle race once again. And here we go then. It's, well, the Live Cup standings can't even keep up. What a ride from... Wait, what's happened to Granado? Why is he in third, fourth? That's not right.
Yeah.
He's won. Our timing screen says he's won. So forget your TV screens, ignore them, they're completely wrong. He goes fishing, he scored.
The timing screen down in pit lane says Granado won, 248 is the gap to Pons. I think it's the graphics.
Yeah, well, there we go. He went fishing then, and he caught a big one. He caught a double MotoE victory here in Austria, all that he needed to do for the Cup standings in Misano.
Absolutely, yeah, that's pretty much perfect for the championship. Aegerter salvaged the podium right at the end. That means he's been on the podium in every race this season, bar one. But Eric Granado, well, he delivers when it really, really mattered, didn't he? With pole position and a victory here, and do not do what we saw in one of the earlier races today and get your nation's flag caught up in the back wheel of your bike.
No, not ideal whatsoever. I mean, the flyer that was buzzing around here jumped straight in my throat at the opportune moment at the end there as well. I'm struggling a little bit now, but what a race that was. How can you not love MotoE? It's just such tension all the way to the line. And what composure from Granado this whole weekend here.
Yeah, I think Mikel Pons is due a bit of a raise, Matt, from Lucio Cecchinello after that performance. Not only did he get second place, but he put a wonderful little buffer in between himself and Eric Granado at the front of the field, so the Brazilian could bring it home for another victory this year. And holding off the riders just behind. Cassidy must be absolutely sick of that final double right after what happened yesterday and today. And here is the winning overtake.
Brilliant stuff from Granado. I mean, you wouldn't have thought there would be a winning overtake, especially in MotoE here in Austria. I mean, that is not the classic place, but here we're on the board looking ahead at Cassidy. Look at this view then, just sensational stuff. Switching to the inside line, lets his brakes off, so smooth, doesn't sacrifice his line. That's how it's done from Eric.
And you can see Eric knows as he comes across the line that it's yet another victory for him. His fifth victory of 2022 so far. Easily the most winning rider of the series this year. And well, we have a title fight going all the way to Misano, man.
Fourth victory, I'm afraid, Neil, as he got the double in Jerez, and I can see on my points thing. Oh no, of course, he got 12.5 back in the Netherlands. That's what's tripped me up. Of course, you're right, me old mucker. But there we go then. So as we see, actually there as well, interestingly enough, Ferrari 3-second penalty due to exceeding track limits. Where does that put him down to?
Ninth.
Yikes.
Yeah, so I mean, Ferrari, I think I mentioned it at one point, it did look as though he was pretty loose with the track limits on several occasions. He had that warning quite early in the race. I saw him wide again before we started the last lap at turn 1, so maybe there was another occasion on the final lap where he exceeded. We know 3 strikes and you're out in this MotoE class. So Ferrari will be desperately disappointed with how this race weekend has played out. 14th yesterday after a crash, and 9th today when he came here with pretty decent chances of still being in the fight for the title.
That's racing though, isn't it? Well, this is as close as it gets to a home race for Dominic Aegerter, the Swiss rider, then waving to what I assume are some home fans. I can already see in Parc Fermé, Mikel Pons has arrived back, much to many cheers of his team. Gives them a big hug as well, but Aegerter waving to the local crowd as he pulls back into Parc Fermé as well. Job well done for Domi.
Yeah, considering Domi's start, the bit of the moment that he had on the first lap, I mean, if he could work out his first laps of the race, I think he would be pretty much unbeatable in this class, because he's so good once we get to the final 4 or 5 laps of the race. But pretty much every time this year, Matt, I think we've seen Aegerter 5th, 6th after the first 1 or 2 laps. Yeah,
he's been really supreme in the latter stages of the races. But Granado, how about that for composure and coping with pressure? It seems like he's got Aegerter on the run. Aegerter doing what he can, per se, but unable to surpass Granado in this kind of form at the moment. And that's a scene of real belief there, that Granado thinking, I can do it. I can get this World Cup. I will take it all the way.
Yeah, we've had a few occasions in the past where Eric has gone to Misano with the chance of the championship. It hasn't quite worked out. But what a day for Lucio Cecchinello's men in this MotoE World Cup. The penultimate round of the year in Austria, and they get a 1-2 finish at just the right time. Mikel Pons, what a great ride that was again, Matt, from you know, a difficult enough qualifying place of 8th. He's still not moving absolutely freely. You can see when he's walking around, he's got a bit of a hobble, a bit of a limp still on him after that big crash at Assen, where he was collected by another rider afterwards, which brought out the red flags. And to come back here with a 3rd and a 2nd, I mean, chapeau to Mikel.
Yeah, he's done really well there, hasn't he? Really good job. The ultimate teammate there. Granado then puts the cap on. First place of 5 wins this year then. Really impressive from the Brazilian. Gosh, MotoE just leaves you absolutely drained, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, 0.4 of a second covering the top 4 in that race. And considering some of the movements that we saw further back, it was all fairly routine for Granado on that final lap, wasn't it? He didn't make any real mistakes and just had a nice little buffer to himself and to Pons behind from turn 4.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, team photo time for the LCRE team, and this is Dominic Aegerter. 3rd place again for him today then. He's done supremely well and keeping that gap high. He's down in Parc Fermé with Frank.
Well, Dummy, that was another pretty dramatic race at times for you, but you got what you needed to do done right at the end there, getting past Mattia, getting another podium. There they go, just rubbing it in. But yeah, are you happy enough with that? And still you've got a good buffer of points heading to the final round.
Yeah, sure. It's hard to take the 3rd place when Eric was winning. But yeah, we had a very tough battle with Pons. We get touch each other in the first lap. So again, it was a little bit difficult to be in front, but the pace was very good. The bike was feeling very great, but just to really overtake, it's very difficult. And yeah, Ferrari have a very fast bike, so he always could overtook me again on the straight. And yeah, for sure 16 important points. Still leading with some point in advance. 2 races to go. And yeah, it's important to finish the race. And okay, it's a podium, but we will take that. And yeah, big thanks to the team. Nice to see so many Austrian fans. It was amazing to see so many Swiss flags. For sure gives me a lot of support. And yeah, see you in 2 weeks in Misano.
We will indeed. Well done, Dominic.
Thank you.
Yes, 2 weeks in Misano. You will not want to miss it. Another championship finale and showdown. And there was that neat move for 3rd place from Dominic Aegerter on Casadei at that final turn. On the final lap, he saved the best until last, did Domi. He goes into Misano with a 17.5 point advantage, which is still pretty handy, Matt. He could just follow Granado around if needs be.
Oh, that'd be mean, wouldn't it?
But something tells me that it won't be that straightforward.
Well, no, we got a preview of that last year, didn't we? Absolutely. So, can't wait for that. What a showdown that'll be in Misano, Rimini Beach. Well, then let's speak to the second place rider, shall we? Mikel Pons. What a job he did this weekend. He's there with Fran.
He is indeed. I said to you just before, Teammate of the Day award, but also an incredible weekend just for you, getting back on the podium. Third yesterday, one better today. After that crash at Assen and everything that happened there, you must be so happy to take 2 podiums here in Austria.
Yeah, I'm very happy. I struggled a little bit to pass Mattia, but at the end I could pass. But today we had a very good performance. We know that maybe if I can pass before, maybe I can fight for the victory. But anyway, I'm very happy, and I want to say thanks to my team because this weekend they work very good, and to my family, my sponsors, and everywhere.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks very much. And great job there by Mikel Pons, rising from 8th on the grid to finish 2nd. And clearly, no team orders issued before that race by Lucio Cecchinello and his squad, thinking that he could have possibly had a shout off the victory.
Yeah, but I think he knows, doesn't he? He's a team player as well. And look at them both, well chuffed with that. That's really nice to see both of them super pumped for each other themselves as well.
And I think that's the second 1-2 finish for LCR in this MotoE category this year. But Eric Granado, for the 5th time in 2022, is a race winner in MotoE, and he's down in Parc Fermé with Fran.
He is indeed. Well, Eric, there was a lot on the line today, and it was another very close race, a bit closer than yesterday, but you kept very cool. Teammate of the Day award for Mikel as well behind you, but congratulations, that was a real stunning race to take the Cup to Misano.
Yes, very crazy race. I was pushing the 100% from the beginning. Again, today, the first lap, I didn't have good grip. I was very far from the first 2. But I kept the pace, I got them, and I was in the first position, controlling the gap with the team. And finally, I knew that in the last lap, they would try. I was trying to brake as late as possible and close the gap in the corners, and finally I could win. So yes, very happy. I want to say congratulations to also Mikel, because it's always good to have a good teammate that push you hard and also help you in this situation that I need some help about the points. I can do my best, but now I'm doing my job, and now let's see what happens in Misano. So very happy. I want to say thank you to the team, and let's go to Misano. And like always, foi uma corrida muito louca. Mais uma vez, eu não tinha gripe na primeira volta, não consegui ter boa aderência, perdi aí bastante tempo nas primeiras 2 voltas. Depois eu consegui buscar meu ritmo, busquei os 2 primeiros colocados. Assumi a liderança, tentei abrir um gap, mas realmente estava muito apertado tudo hoje. Os pilotos estão muito rápidos e eu só no final da prova tentei fechar a porta, não deixar a possibilidade de me ultrapassarem, e deu certo, consegui vencer. Então, pô, muito feliz. Quero agradecer muito ao companheiro de equipe também pelo ótimo trabalho. É muito bom ter um cara que está ali sempre te empurrando a dar o seu melhor, e também, no caso, hoje me ajudou na pontuação no campeonato. Então, a luta continua, vamos para Misano, tem mais 2 corridas aí, a gente está na briga e eu não vou desistir até o final.
Parabéns.
Valeu.
Well, thank you, Fran, and thanks to Eric Granado. 5th time winner in this category in this year, 10-time winner in this category going back to 2019. Quite comfortably the most winning rider in this class.
Wow. Well, there you go. That says something. Fear Eric going into that final round then. And also fear Domi. I can't wait that. I mean, 2 contenders, 2 quite opposite characters in a way. Both quite extroverted, but yeah, contrasting characters going down to the wire right in Misano, like we did last year. That's what MotoE is all about, this close, fierce, exciting racing. All electric, of course, as well. We're on looking at the onboard now. The final corner, out Eric comes. He'll be celebrating as he crosses the line then. Excellent stuff. He can barely contain his joy. That's what sport's all about. Excellent stuff. Great to see. Absolutely brilliant stuff then. I'm sure we'll be seeing the results very shortly then. And it will reveal with the points gap closing between Egerter and Granado. 50 points left in the 2022 series.
Pretty much always, Matt, something a bit strange, a bit unexpected, happens at that final double round at Misano, doesn't it?
Correct.
You just have to think back to last year, but a couple of occasions before that as well. So it is by no means over. 17.5 points between first and second. And the same schedule as we've had all year. Race on Saturday, a race on Sunday to decide the title.
Well, then we await for the riders to come out then onto the podiums. Of course, and get the Prosecco sprayed for the final time here today in Austria. What a day of racing that we've had. Moto3, Moto2, MotoGP and now MotoE. And don't forget as well, for those of you who are partial to the Road to MotoGP programs, Red Bull Rookies takes place after this as well on various platforms, Red Bull TV and YouTube and whatever, wherever you're watching from this one. Hope you've enjoyed the coverage. So then we can see the riders to the right of your screen. There they are. Quite interestingly enough, not exactly much casual discussion going on between Aegerter and Granado, Neil.
I mean, they are two very, very nice guys, but a healthy rivalry, I think, exists, and understandably so, considering what is at stake. But Tommy Aegerter comes out for, that is his 9th podium in 10 races this year.
Golly.
He's been an absolute model of consistency.
Very impressive indeed from Aegerter, likewise from Pons. And then Granado as well. Really, really impressive. Here he comes then. He's always a bit Hollywood, always a bit blockbuster. Give me 5. And a shout of Brazil there as well. So then, 3rd place trophy being handed out then. Who's this chap? Nicola Zandalasini. What a name. An Alexway MotoE manager. Handing the 3rd place trophy to Dominic Aegerter. Same again, the 2nd place trophy being handed to Mikel Pons.
How many trophies must Aegerter have between World Supersport and MotoE over the past 2 seasons, man? I hope he's
going to open his own museum.
Yeah, he's got a conservatory on the side of the house to house all those trophies. Well done to Mikel Pons for 2nd place, equals his best result of the year. But it's all about the man who's won for the 5th time in 2022. Eric Granado is taking this title fight all the way to Misano, courtesy of another excellent victory. A double victory here in Austria for the Brazilian.
So impressive. Here we go then, Brazilian national anthem time. Brilliant stuff, always emotional for Granado then, isn't it? Hearing that national anthem above the Grand Prix podium, absolutely loves it. Brilliant stuff in MotoE, just tremendous as always here in Austria. Get that Prosecco sprayed. Tremendous stuff then. Ching ching, everybody.